It's amazing how foolish love can seem in such beautiful ways. I recall years ago when I was working as a hospital chaplain, a really difficult 24-hour on-call shift. The night before, I had to be there for a family that had lost a child. And then the morning as I was winding down my on-call shift the next morning, my pager went off from the birthing floor, and I thought, oh no, not again. And I called down there, and the nurse had a chuckle in her voice, and she said, there is a dad here who is so excited that he just had his first child that he wants the whole world to know, including a chaplain. So if you're able to come down and say hi and meet the baby and say a prayer, that would be wonderful. And I went down to the birthing floor, and I was greeted by the dad, who picked me up in this amazing bear hug and lifted my feet off the ground. I was caught off guard. I actually dropped my prayer book in response, and he didn't care. He just took me by the arm and led me over to the little tray where their daughter was lying. Mom was understandably exhausted in the hospital bed. She was also perhaps a bit mortified. She was rolling her eyes at her partner's foolishness. And yet there was a little smile on her face, because I think she appreciated his excitement and foolishness too. I know I did. It's an experience I continue to live off of to this day. It was an experience of, on one hand, what seemed like the foolishness of love, but it certainly picked me up at the end of a very difficult 24-hour shift. As we find ourselves journeying closer to the cross of Good Friday in this season of Lent, it's worth our reflection on scripture passages like the first chapter of Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, where he reflects on the cross and acknowledges that through one lens it seems like a real foolish act of love, to be willing to embrace us in all of our weakness. And yet that's precisely what Paul celebrates, this foolish love that does embrace us in all of our weakness, all so that we can experience the gift of redemption and hope and ultimately Easter. And there's a holy invitation in that for you and for me to pause and pray about on our journeys through Lent, to reflect on when we've experienced that gift of a love that seems so foolish on the part of the divine that it actually embraced us in all of our weakness. Maybe that's experienced in the everyday love of family and friends that keeps walking with us and loving on us and sustaining us despite all of our imperfection, all of our foolishness, all of our weakness. Or maybe it's a relationship of support that actually took root and grew out of an experience of profound weakness and struggle in our lives. That gift is certainly experienced through courageous people like that father years ago, who refused to see the darkness and chaos of the world as having the last word, but find the grace to marvel at the gift of new life that's always being set before us in our midst, and then wanting to pull as many people into marveling at that gift of new life as possible. That is really the love of Lent, and it's a love worth celebrating, because even though it might seem foolish, it won't stop expanding until all of our weakness is embraced. Lenten peace and blessings to you all.